Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at some really fascinating sources you shared, diving into some pretty deep philosophical and, well, spiritual concepts.
Absolutely. This comes from a group calling themselves the Sacred Atlantean Brotherhood.
Right, and they present these ideas as ancient truths. Truths, they say, are essential, actually, for navigating our modern world, especially with technology advancing so fast.
Exactly. It's quite a claim.
So our mission today is really to, break down their core ideas. We want to understand this infinite ocean concept they talk about
That's central. It's their idea of the source.
and figure out what they mean by their first degree, the degree of harmonious union. What does that actually entail?
And it's important, I think, to frame this like you said. They're not just offering history lessons.
No, not at all.
They're positioning this ancient wisdom, supposedly from Atlantis, as a direct answer to very current problems. Things like, chasing technology, the state of education, power dynamics, even AI.
It all comes back to one thing for them, doesn't it?
It does. Their central argument is stark.
Mhm.
Humanity's basically suffering because we've forgotten our source, lost the connection.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because that source, that forgotten connection, is the infinite ocean for them.
Yes, it's the foundation.
It's their big metaphor, but they seem to mean it literally, too. So what is the infinite ocean, according to these texts?
Well, they're very clear it's not just water. They define it as consciousness itself. Capital C.
Consciousness.
Yeah,
Okay, so like the fabric of reality?
pretty much. Vast, infinite, eternal, not really a place, but an omnipresent state of being.
Yeah.
And they link it directly to Atlantis.
Also.
They suggest Atlantis wasn't just, a physical island that sank. It was more a state of spiritual unity. And that state is the ocean of consciousness. Still accessible, always there.
Huh. So it's like their term for God, or the divine, but
Yeah.
emphasizing this fluid, boundless quality. Interesting.
Exactly.
But how does it work? If it's the source of everything, does it interact with us? Is
Yeah.
it passive? Does it judge?
This is where it gets really crucial, and honestly a bit mind-bending. They insist the ocean, its fundamental nature, cannot be corrupted. It's always pure, always infinite.
Okay.
But, and this is the key mechanism they describe, it acts as a perfect mirror. Instantaneous reflection.
A mirror. What does that mean practically?
It means it reflects back whatever we project into it, whatever state we hold within ourselves.
So if humanity is collectively, say, fearful or chaotic,
Then the ocean reflects that back as the storms we see in the world. Conflict, environmental problems, widespread anxiety. It's our own reflection.
and conversely, if we bring harmony,
Then it reflects peace, unity, abundance. This reflective quality, they say, dictates the nature of our manifested reality. Everything.
wow, that really changes the stakes for things like meditation or finding inner peace, doesn't it?
Totally. It's not just self-help anymore.
It becomes about contributing to the overall stability of the reflection, aligning your little part of the ocean.
Precisely. And that's why they argue that chasing external fixes new technologies, political power, often fails.
Because if your internal state is still fractured,
The ocean just mirrors the fracture back. You solve one problem, but your underlying state creates 10 more. The work has to be internal first. Otherwise, you're just fighting your own reflection.
right, so if our inner state is that powerful, if it's shaping reality through this ocean, the obvious question is, how do we change that state?
Exactly. And they offer a tool, a starting point.
Which is where the word and vibration come in. This is what they call the first working tool for someone starting this path, the initiate.
Yes. And here's where it gets really interesting, because this connects the huge abstract ocean concept to, well, everything. Creation, our thoughts, everything.
How do they make that connection?
They lay out this really elegant, almost logical chain. It starts with something familiar. In the beginning was the Word.
Okay, Gospel of John.
Right. But they immediately pivot. They don't just leave it as scripture.
They translate it.
How? They state flat out, the word was vibration. So the creative impulse isn't just a spoken word, it's a frequency, a physical principle almost.
Vibration.
Okay, and then the chain keeps going, unifying everything. They say vibration is life.
Uh-huh.
And then closing the loop, life is the ocean.
Wow. So word equals vibration equals life equals the ocean.
Exactly. Which leads to their core teaching. All is vibration, all is spirit, all is God. Every thought, every feeling you have is a vibration, a frequency,
A frequency that's instantly interacting with the ocean.
and being reflected by it. You're not separate from the ocean, you're a wave of it, made of that fundamental creative frequency.
That's quite a concept. It links metaphysics right into something that sounds almost like physics, doesn't it?
It does. It implies that your internal state, your vibrational state, is constantly actively creating your reality.
Which brings us squarely to the goal, the first degree. What does it mean to achieve this degree of harmonious union?
It's the breakthrough moment, the spiritual awakening, as they frame it.
The point where you stop just, theorizing about the ocean?
Yes. It's when the seeker consciously, actively tries to unite their own wave, their individual awareness, with the whole sea.
Realizing you're not just a drop, but part of the ocean itself.
Exactly. That realization, that felt sense of unity, is the first degree.
Now, what's fascinating here is how they back this up. They don't just present it as their own unique discovery, do they?
Not at all. And that's a key part of their approach. They aren't shy about grounding this in historical and cross-cultural contexts.
They bring in quotes from all over: Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Hinduism.
Yeah.
Why do that? Why the big synthesis?
Well, I think it's about establishing universality. They're essentially saying, look, this isn't some new cult idea, this core truth of unity with the source. It's been the heart of genuine spiritual seeking across ages and cultures.
So it lends authority, but also says, we're just reminding you of something fundamental.
Precisely. They're not asking you to convert, but to recognize this pattern. They point to John 1.1, in the beginning was the Word.
Which they link to vibration.
Yes. Then they might quote the Qur'an, perhaps Surah 24.35, Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth, linking source to light or energy.
Right.
Or the Zohar from Jewish mysticism. The infinite is the ocean from which all streams flow and to which all return.
Very direct, that one.
Very. And the Upanishads in Hinduism. All this is Brahman. From him the universe is born, in him it rests, and to him it returns.
So multiple traditions pointing to a singular source and eventual return.
Exactly. And then they tie it all together with their own text, the Book of Remembrance, which says something like, from the ocean of being came forth the Word, and from the Word came all forms, yet none are apart from the source.
So the message is, this harmonious union isn't just their goal, it's the universal spiritual goal.
That seems to be the point they're making very strongly.
Okay, that makes the first degree feel much less esoteric and more like an essential step. But knowing about it is one thing. You mentioned it's about actively uniting. So let's shift from the what to the how. How does an initiate actually do this? What's the practice involved?
It boils down to a practice of inner stillness and, interestingly, focused imagination. It's designed to reverse the usual outward focus of our attention.
Turning inward, basically.
Right. First step, still the mind. Quieten those surface waves of constant thinking, the chatter.
Easier said than done, usually.
Oh, absolutely. That's the practice. Then they emphasize conscious breathing, but with a specific image.
Which is?
To breathe as the tide of the inner sea. Feel the breath like the ebb and flow of this vast inner ocean.
So using the breath as an anchor to feel that depth.
Exactly. Feeling the deep, calm presence beneath all the fleeting thoughts and emotions, recognizing that vast, unshakable ocean within you.
And if someone achieves that stillness, that connection, what happens? They use a particular phrase, hearing the Christos.
Yes, the Christos.
Now we need to clarify this. Is this the biblical Christ or something else in their system?
That's a really important clarification. In their context, Christos isn't limited to the historical figure of Jesus.
Okay.
It refers more to the universal, eternal principle of being itself. Like the fundamental sound or vibration of creation that you can perceive when your individual mind aligns perfectly with the infinite ocean.
So it's the song of the source.
That's a good way to put it. The eternal song of being. The true nature of reality, which the ancients, they claim, recognized as the self.
And hearing that, finding that alignment, that's true peace.
That's how they define it. You're no longer just hearing the static of your ego or the world's noise, you're hearing the source.
This all sounds very serene, peaceful, even blissful. But the Brotherhood uses incredibly urgent language. They state very clearly, this is not philosophy, it is survival. Why such high stakes?
Because the alternative, in their view, is catastrophic. It's about the soul's survival.
How so?
They draw a stark contrast. The path most people are on now, chasing external things, fragments of power, technology, caught in anxiety and division.
The surface waves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They describe that path as literally drowning.
Drowning. Metaphorically or?
Metaphorically, but with deadly serious implications. Drowning in separation, anxiety, and despair. They argue that's the root of the deep unease we see even in materially successful societies. A profound internal misery because of disconnection from the source.
So spiritual death, essentially, regardless of external success.
That's the warning. The separation itself is the danger.
And the alternative path, the initiate's path.
That's presented as salvation. By consciously uniting with the inner ocean, the initiate isn't just coping. They are carried into unity, freedom, and light.
So the choice is between drowning on the surface or diving into the source.
That's precisely the choice they frame. It's survival versus oblivion for the soul, in their terms.
Which makes their purpose clear. Their organization exists to, what, be a guide back?
Essentially, yes. A lighthouse, as you put it earlier. Their stated mission is to remind humanity of its forgotten ocean.
And the first degree is just stepping into the water.
Just the beginning. It's the conscious entry point.
You mentioned they have a fuller path.
Yes, they outline a progression through 9 degrees of awakening. It maps the journey from that initial realization to, well, full mastery.
Can you give us a sense of that progression?
Sure. You start as the initiate, the one who enters the ocean, achieves that first degree of harmonious union.
Okay.
Then you progress, for example, to become a navigator. This implies learning to steer your life by the deep currents of the ocean, the underlying truth, rather than being tossed around by the surface storms of circumstance or emotion.
So maintaining that connection even amidst chaos.
Exactly. And the culmination, they suggest, is becoming a captain of the soul, someone who has fully mastered their connection to the source and can operate from that place of perfect, harmonious unity consistently.
That sounds like quite a journey. But is there a risk? Once you find that inner peace, that union, do they warn about, say, becoming detached, checking out from the world?
That's a really crucial point, and yes, the sources do address that. The danger isn't in the union itself, but in mistaking an early stage for the final one.
Ah, like spiritual ego. I found the ocean, so I'm done.
Exactly. Or using that inner peace as an excuse to disengage from the world's problems. They stress that the role of the navigator and captain isn't to hide in the calm depths, but to bring that calm to the surface storms.
So engagement, not detachment.
Right. True mastery means operating within the chaos while remaining centered in the ocean. It's about transforming the world from that centered place.
So what does this all mean? Pulling it together for you, the listener, the core message from these Atlantean Brotherhood sources seems pretty direct, almost like an instruction.
It really does. It's a call to stop living on the surface.
Do not settle for fragments. Do not live on the surface of restless waves. Stop being thrown around by the reflections of anxiety and division.
And the central insight, the promise really, is that diving into that inner ocean, that act of turning inward and seeking union, is where the separation ends.
The separation that they say causes all the despair.
Precisely. The initiate isn't just getting better. They're fundamentally changed, reborn in harmonious union. It marks the end of desperately chasing external fixes.
And the beginning of embodying the solution from within.
Exactly.
We kept coming back to that powerful connection. The word was vibration.
Yes. And maybe that's the final thought to leave you with.
Go on.
If that's true, if your source is vibration and your inner state is a constant frequency generator, then think about it. Every thought, every emotion, every hidden intention you carry has a literal, quantifiable frequency.
A vibration you're putting out into the ocean.
Which the ocean, the perfect mirror, reflects right back. So
Yeah.
the provocative question is, what's your current frequency? Is it one that fosters harmony, connection, union with that deep ocean of being?
Or is it one of fear, judgment, separation, hindering that union?
Because that frequency, that vibration you're sending out, that's the one thing the mirror cannot and will not lie about. It just reflects.